Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening. Welcome. Welcome to tonight's Periscope. I have the honor of being joined this evening by Miracles Within Us, Melissa Miranda.
Hola, everyone.
Welcome to Melissa. Welcome to our live viewers, our replay viewers, and a special big warm welcome to anyone who is new tonight. Thank you all for joining us.
Yes.
So tonight I have the honor of, hello, Zoraida. Good evening. I really have the honor of having Melissa join us for a very, very special Periscope on relationships. So one of the things that we talk about here on Periscope is relationships. And one of the things that I am really passionate about is connecting spirituality and sexuality. And really, how do you have a sacred relationship, as humans, right, who are spiritual beings having this experience? Like, how can we maintain our spirituality while in relationship? And this is really, I welcome as many questions, right? So if you have any questions about relationships, anything that's happening to you in your life right now, we welcome those questions this evening. I always welcome them, but specifically tonight, we want to hear them. And
Yes.
yeah, do you want to say a little bit about why you're interested in this topic?
Yeah. For those of you who follow me on YouTube on Miracles Within Us, you may know this, but for those of you who do not, I like to connect both because for me, spirituality and sexuality is the same vibrational frequency. When, receiving an orgasm or high peak of sexual satisfaction, it's also the same as when we are in a really high blissful state, when we're in the state of bliss. It's the same vibrational frequency. And, a lot of us are not even aware of that, but we're so powerful in that space, and I want us to use it, right? I want us to use our sexual energy and our spiritual energy to help manifest things in our lives. And it's such a powerful thing that
It is.
I feel that we need to help spread that out because people have so much shame also around spirituality and being sexual and having sexual experiences with themselves and or with partners. And spirituality is about complete freedom, and so is sexuality.
Yeah, full expression,
Yeah,
right? Fully embodying who you are.
Yes.
And how do you do that in relationship, right? One of the things that I have been doing recently is doing a lot of reading on relationship books and just kind of like trying to figure out how other people are talking about it, right? Because however society is framing something, that's how the majority of us are seeing it, are acknowledging it, are experiencing it, right?
Yes.
So one of the things that I've come across is Steve Harvey, right? And Steve Harvey has his books.
Yeah, Act Like a Lady, Think
Like a Man, and
the other one, what's it called?
Straight Talk,
No Chasers.
Yeah. So these books are really good books. They're full of awesome information. But it's also coming at relationships from a very human perspective.
Yes.
Right? So one of the things that I love to point out about these books is like it really does this like cutting of the sexes, right? It's like, and it's not even sexes, right? Because men that's a whole gender, right? So it's like men here, women here. And one of the things that I like to uplift in via my scopes and tonight is really that it's not about men and women. It's about the masculine energy and the feminine energy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's these two. Our entire world is based on duality.
Yeah. That's
right?
a part of the third dimensional experience that we're having here.
Yeah. So because of that, that's the duality, right? You have the masculine and the feminine. And they're always at play. Right? And I think that's one of the really key words.
It's play.
Right? It's play.
It's play and games.
It's all play and it's all games. So we're almost taking, and it's so funny because we're talking about sacred sexuality, which is like, oh my God, like we're going to church with our sexuality.
Yeah.
But really, it's like, it's not about taking it so seriously. At times, we're so serious about things that it's almost like a turnoff.
Well, yeah. And
for not just you, for them too.
Yeah, it
right?
gets really, right? And also, it's a lower vibrational frequency.
Yeah.
Right? When you lose the excitement, when you lose the sense of being playful, you lose out in the higher vibrational frequency of what you're really trying to create. Right? This bliss, sexual orgasms, and self-satisfaction, all of those things are really high vibrational frequencies, and you can't get there being so strict onto yourself or creating all these limits, right? If you think about spirituality and meditation, it's about letting go of control. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing with sexuality. It's letting go.
You can't control when you orgasm. It's always a surprise. Or it should be. In my book. If it's not in your book, that's okay too. That's great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Whatever rocks your boat, right?
Yeah. But it's about that. The game and the fun. And it's a higher energy.
You have to be playful. And I think that's the key to having a sacred sexuality, a sacred relationship, is really having a lot of just playfulness. Right? Is in that playful energy that you get to co-create, right? What does that relationship look like, feel like, taste like, right? There's so much that goes on in relationship that we really do have to be playful. I've heard so many couples also talk about it just gets boring, right?
Yeah. It gets boring, or it's always the same, and and then people like, oh, it leads me to want to have a wandering eye, and I don't want to do that. But there's something exciting about having someone new, right? And it's not, and that's what we think, right? It's the idea of having someone new. It's more about having different experiences versus having someone new.
And it's the excitement. Right?
Yes.
Because that's what someone new creates for us.
Yes.
It creates intrigue, it creates excitement, it creates fantasy, right? Because you still don't know what you're getting yourself into all the way. Although most of us can really drive our minds into fantasy really quickly. But it's really about that excitement, that adventure that you go on. Right? And it's all about, at least for me, in having a sacred relationship, there's a lot of communication that needs to happen, right? But also, we are so used to communication. That is how, communication is perceived between men and women, between couples. It's like this,
serious
awkwardness thing. And this serious time, and it's that's all bullshit.
Yeah,
it's all bullshit. It's no, when we're communicating, this is fun, it's dynamic, it's interactive, it's pleasure seeking for both of us, right? It's about okay, what's today's game? How can I help you meet your goals? How can I help you meet my goals?
Yes.
How can we meet each other's goals? And how can we pack that game in with as much fucking fun as possible.
Yeah. And something too that I found helpful and that I continue to use is to see that what other people want and what I want is not wrong. I'm always right and they're always right. Now, they may, she may have something different than I.
Agrees. More play. Awesome.
Yes. She may have a certain desire that I may not have. Let's say if we were in a partnership or so, right? But that doesn't make that her wrong, and it doesn't make me right or me wrong for not wanting to play. So that's another thing we also need to take in account when we're interacting with people, because what I've seen is that we always want to change the other person or persuade them to do what we want. And then that creates a lot of mixed emotions that are not good, and that plays into the bedroom, and then that leads to not having good sex, and both people feel it, right? When communication is not there, where the game is not there, the sex is not there.
Yeah, and two, you can be playing a game, but it has to be a mutually agreed upon game, right? If the guy or the girl, or like if one person is setting all the rules and the other person is not like, I'm all about those rules too, it's not a real game.
There has to be rewards.
It's a make-believe game. And it's a game that is eventually gonna like really crash and burn because it's not mutual.
Yes.
Right? There has to be mutual gain. It has to be a win-win situation, or win-win-win-win. How many other people are involved, in it? Right? Like, it has to be a win for everybody. And you just have to be in awareness, right? That people have different needs, right? And there are no wrong needs, right? At the end of the day, we all have needs. We all do everything to meet a need. Can you give an example? Yes.
Yes.
So I can give an example, and this will be a real live example.
Okay.
So for me, I have a need. So my love languages, and I've talked a little bit about love languages on here before. My love language is physical touch and quality time. Those are my two main love languages.
Yeah, and mine are the same but opposite.
Okay, right? So for me, I really need the quality time to include physical touch, right? Yes? Yes.
Same.
Okay. So, for example, in the game I'm playing right now with my partner, time is something that I want more of, that I'm needing more of, right? So I make my need, I express my need in a very playful manner, like, hi, I would love to see you tonight and practice some of my massaging skills on you, right? So that's meeting also his need for physical touch, but it's also making my needs heard, and hopefully
quality time and touch,
and hopefully he can meet those needs. Right now, if he can't meet them today, it doesn't mean that tomorrow I'm gonna throw a tissy fit and like end the relationship, right? It's okay. So how can I help you meet your goals that are priority right now, so that then you can help me meet my needs? Exactly.
And like another example, let's say you are with your, you have a partner and you want their time, and you want to do stuff together, right? But yet your partner is completely busy all the time, right? And what we normally do, or what I've seen in relationship, is that the person who's not getting the time that they need, they're throwing dramas, right? And the truth is that if you get to the core of it and you say to your partner, hey, I need to meet with you at, before the end of this week. How can I help you make that happen? Right? So it's about also you, if you want something, you also going to the milestone to do it. So maybe your partner has errands to run, right? Like paying bills, going grocery shopping, and you have more time to do that part. You can offer that service and say, hey, I want to spend time with you. So I see the value of me going grocery shopping for you to free up that time so then we can get together and do what we want to do together, right? It's about seeing that play together, right? Because some people are like, oh, well, you're doing their stuff, you're doing their work for them. And it's not about that. It's about, hey, I want to see you. My priority is to see you.
And it's supporting each other.
And it's supporting each other. And that's the best feeling in a relationship, is when you have a goal and your partner wants to help you do that goal or accomplish that goal. Whether it is seeing each other, finishing a degree, going back, taking tests, whatever it is that they need.
Yeah.
Right? Being able to be that support and them doing the same for you.
And do not forget, we all, like, I don't care who it is, we all want to be acknowledged. We all want to be acknowledged. We all want to be seen, recognized, applauded, appreciated, pampered. We all want that.
Yes.
And you have to make that part of your relationship, right? So, and a lot of guys, you know, and girls too, like, so here there's, you know, genders aside, everyone likes it. But men specifically respond very positive to appreciation,
and
to recognition. So when you recognize that they have been working really hard to meet a goal, and that you understand that maybe you guys couldn't see each other as much as you wanted to this week, or, you know, X couldn't happen because he's so focused on his goals. When you acknowledge that and you support that, it gets you what you want. It really gets you what you want. It does.
Like, it's also this sense of yielding, right? That a lot of people's like, how does yielding get me exactly what I want, right? And the truth is that you let the person say what they need to say, and then you express the truth of what's going on, right? So I had a situation a few months ago, and I'll share with you, where I almost lost my man. Okay.
And she's sharing, guys.
I am gonna share something.
It's getting real here.
I really thought we were completely done. He was not responding to me, nothing. And I built the courage, went to his home, and surprised him. Now, for him, I understood that for him, touch and surprise is like, woo, off the chain. So just the fact that I showed up was one thing. But he's really a strong, masculine type of guy. And he was not having it. And I went there, and he thought I was gonna go and like talk and all of this. And I stood silent. And I told him, I am sorry. I didn't mean to react the way that I reacted. And I realized my mistake, and I'm here to make amends, right? And then I was completely silent. I was yielding to my man, okay? Where he then expressed what was happening to him, okay? And then once he was able to say everything he needed to say to me, okay, even things that I didn't even know, or that some people will take personally and like, oh, how can you think that? I just let him say all that he needed to say, okay? Then at the end, when he had nothing else to say, he asked me, what do you want, Melissa? And I told him, I want you. And then everything changed, because he got out of his chest what he needed to share. And I got what I wanted, which was him, right? The story that I created and all the other drama that was going on was irrelevant. It wasn't there to prove my point. I wasn't there to be right and to make him wrong. Yeah. Okay. And that's something we need to understand with our partners, whether your partner is a male or a female. It's not to make them wrong for what they are and what they have done. It's about sharing how you felt about it. Okay, so in this case, what worked for me was yielding, and I have my man back.
Yes, thank you for the testimonial.
Yeah.
I think that definitely is a big lesson that a lot of us learn. And in relationships, it's always about support, right? When you make a relationship competitive, when you're trying to be right in your relationship, that is where it starts to just go down the drain. Because at the end of the day, there is no right, there is no wrong. And if you're trying to be right, then you're going to be right and alone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I always tell myself is like, do I want to be right or do I want what I want? Like, do I want it? Right? And sometimes we need to ask ourselves that, what's more of value for me to be right or for me to get what I want?
Yeah.
And for me, what gets me what I want is what makes me happy,
Yeah.
not being right.
Yeah.
And making someone wrong.
Yeah. And to just add a little more spirituality into this, spirituality is all about growing together, right? And awakening together, becoming higher enlightened beings, living
An acceptance.
a life of high vibrational frequency, acceptance, compassion. And all of those are things that you need in order to just, not even just a relationship that's romantic, any relationship, right? Like we've learned this as friends for now 12 years almost. You really need to have a lot of these tools, and it's always playful. Like our friendship is always playful. We're always having fun, having adventures, just creating things out of nowhere. It's like, let's go to the movies, and then let's go to Barnes and Nobles, and then let's go to dinner. And it's really just always going where the pleasure is, right?
Yeah.
Always, it's all about pleasure. If something is not pleasurable, darlings, stop doing it.
Yeah.
Because it's not in your highest and greatest good. Our highest and greatest good always feels pleasurable. Right? And there is, with growth, there can be some turbulence, but you are always, the underlying current is always pleasure.
Yes. And when you see, your partner, your friend, and they're not in their pleasure, it is our job to remind them that, they deserve to have that pleasure and to make that move forward. I've been having a rough time.
Yeah, thank you, Zoraida.
And, Denise has definitely helped me say, hey, you're not in your pleasure. And some other friends like, hey, you're not in your pleasure right now. How can I get you back into that? And that's another thing that as spiritual people is seeing that, and just anyone in general, just seeing, hey, you don't seem too happy about this, and it's, how can we move this into something else?
Yeah. And I have to say that is definitely true, because even here on Periscope, one of the things that I've come to know is if I am not excited and in my pleasure when I'm about to do these scopes, then my commitment will not last, right? And I've been going on scopes every single night for about 70, 80 days now. I've lost track, right? Because I'm having so much fun with you all. I'm always in my pleasure. I always get creative and invent new topics. It's just like, what am I going to talk about tonight? Oh, this. And it just comes to me, and it like lights me up, and it excites me, and it just makes it so much more fun. That is why sorry, that's the Spanish alarm. We have 3 minutes before the Spanish scope.
Yeah, we've talked a lot.
But really, it's like, how can you get into your pleasure and keeping that pleasure going? That's what really leads to longevity, to commitment, to just like lots and lots of love, passion, abundance in relationships. Whether that's your relationship with your audience and your clients, your relationship with your best friends, or your relationship with your partner, your life partner. So I think, any last comments, tips for our friends over here?
Just remember that the more you're in bliss, the higher your vibrational frequency is, and the higher your vibrational frequency is, the more you are able to attract into your life a lot faster.
Yeah, yeah.
So go have some fun.
Living your pleasure. I love you all. I wish you all a pleasurable, passionate evening. And until tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for morning inspiration, have a good night. Good night,
Namaste.
Zoraida. Love you all. Bye.